Okay, you are live. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Got a couple of cameras and a stand-up mic here and my Rode mic and speakers connected to TikTok. And so there's a lot of tech going on. So please, if anything, if there's any technical difficulties like my voice not going through or any issues, please let me know in the comments. I'd like this to be more interactive this time. I'd like to bring a bunch of people up on the live. So if you're, balanced, sane individual with something to share, inshallah ta'ala, we'll bring you on. You can send me a request, but let me go through the interview first. So make sure you go to, that you also follow this off my YouTube channel. That would be my preference. I'm not a fan of Face. So YouTube or Twitter, I should be streaming live off Muslim Hub Club. So check me out on Twitter or on YouTube to watch the live podcast, because I am going to share a video and we're going to inshallah react to it, and I'm going to translate it. So without further ado, nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulih al-kareem. Assalamu alaikum from Goa. From Goa. Okay. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Liana Diaz, mashallah. I'm a Palestinian. For those that don't know me, I'm a Palestinian from Gaza, but I'm not live from Gaza. I'm currently live from California, where I had to come to receive my mother, who, alhamdulillah, was able to get out, and we're working on getting the rest of her family out. We're doing our best. It's not easy. We're trying through all different sorts of measures, and alhamdulillah, my son gave a speech today at the city council in Mississauga in Canada, and they passed a motion, I think, for the ceasefire. So narrative is changing. Alhamdulillah, the whole world is on our side. These are as difficult as they are. With difficulty comes ease. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Not after it, but with it. For those who can see, for those that can appreciate, for those that they don't have narrow vision, they're always kind of focused on the bigger picture. They have a holistic view, and they really think things through, and analyze things critically and carefully with the guidance of the Quran and Sunnah. So this video, let's see if I can start presenting. I think I have the one with Andrew open right now. Let's just keep this one and share screen. That's what we're going to do. On a computer, some screens is easiest with two monitors, of course. So let's do the interview. Also share tab audio, of course. Alrighty then, here we go. Let's see what would be the best view here to get maximum exposure of the video. This guy is so cute, man. Like, just the presence on him, subhanallah. If you're on my YouTube right now, you should be seeing the video in front of you. I'm about to play it. But just for some background, his wife, Hanan Barghouti, is one of the hostages or prisoners that's going to be released. And obviously they want to interview him and ask him his, if he's excited or not, what his plans are, what's going on. So it really touched me, because he's just so himself. He's not worried about, impressing anybody. He's just present in himself and just speaking his heart. So let's hear him out, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, how are we gonna do this? Let's play it. Bismillah.
محمد البرغوثي، زوجة الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي. سيد محمد، أحييك على شاشة الجزيرة مباشر.
Okay, so first,
اسم زوجة حضرتك
I can't hear it. So let's try to the sound. Okay.
الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي كان ضمن
Let me try to switch it to sound on this side. Bear with me here, inshallah. And let's play it now.
الأسماء التي نشرتها نشرها الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. هل أبلغتم بأي شيء
Okay,
رسمي
there are some
يعني
technical
فيما يخص
difficulties. Let's
الإفراج عن
try
السيدة
to
حنان أم لا؟
hold on a second.
ما بلغنا.
Okay,
مم.
we've got it up
يعني
on the
أنت
screen.
مثلنا رأيت
Professor,
اسم
that's
السيدة حنان
fine.
في
ما شاء الله.
هذه
I'll bring you up
القوائم
shortly.
بشكل إعلامي.
But let me just try to
أيوة رأيت على
figure this
القائمة.
out.
طيب
The
هل
sound
ممكن
is
أن
not
تحدثنا
coming
أكثر عن
because
السيدة
we've
حنان البرغوثي وكيف
told the sound
تم
to come
اعتقالها؟
out of
التهم الموجهة إليها؟
settings. Here we go.
حنان اعتقلت قبل شهرين ونص تقريبا 80
See
يوم.
if we can
وفي أولاد الأربعة برضو معتقلين.
and the speaker.
أعطوها إداري 4
That's
شهور.
why. So let's
وتهمت
say
أنه أساس ما كانت
macro
نشيطة يعني
speakers
تزور أهل
filter.
الأسرى وأهل
There we go.
المساجين
Let's see if that changes
ومن
things.
هذا الجانب.
هذه هي التهمة
And
فقط،
the
أنها
mic can stay
تزور أهالي الأسرى
that way.
والمعتقلين. هذه هي
See if
التهمة؟
that changes things at all.
لأنه لما أجى الكابتن علينا كلنا بالحرف الواحد.
See if we restart
أنا
it
بدي
really quick.
أخذها أحسن ما أخذها.
Okay. Having some technical difficulties here. Bear with me, inshallah ta'ala.
ينضم إلينا الآن عبر الإنترنت من قرية كوبر برام الله السيد محمد البرغوثي زوج الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي.
Let me just stop sharing really quick and try to. It's muted. There we go. Can you hear me now? Let's try. This might be even better. High definition camera, see audio. So the mic, I'm just going to try the default MacBook Pro built-in. The speakers as well, just for now. Okay, we should be, yes, now we can, good. And I know it's a bit tricky. Thank you for your patience. Let's go through it now.
ينضم إلينا الآن عبر الإنترنت من قرية كوبر برام الله السيد محمد
So this is Brother Muhammad al-Barghouti, and he's in Ramallah in the West Bank, and he's being interviewed by Al Jazeera Mubashir. Al Jazeera is putting him through the interview. So
البرغوثي زوج الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي سيد محمد أحييك على شاشة الجزيرة مباشر. اسم زوجة حضرتك الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي كان ضمن الأسماء التي نشرها الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. هل أبلغتم بأي شيء رسمي يعني فيما يخص الإفراج عن السيدة حنان أم لا؟
ما بلغنا.
يعني أنت مثلنا رأيت اسم السيدة حنان في هذه القوائم بشكل إعلامي.
أيوة رأيت على القائمة.
طيب هل ممكن أن تحدثنا أكثر عن السيدة حنان البرغوثي وكيف تم اعتقالها؟
So notice that background, why was she imprisoned? What's the story? What's the background? Tell us. Now listen carefully.
من موجهة إليها
حنان اعتقلت قبل شهرين ونص تقريبا 80 يوم. وفي أولاد الأربعة برضو معتقلين.
Okay, so let's just take that back. Sorry, I didn't get exactly what he says. Here we go.
وفي أولاد الأربعة برضو معتقلين.
They took her and
أعطوها إداري 4 شهور. وتهمت أنه على أساس أنها كانت نشيطة، يعني تزور أهل الأسرى وأهل المساجين ومن هذا الجانب.
So they imprisoned her. She was like frequenting the masjid. She was the prison, going back and forth to the prison to visit prisoners. Like that was her crime. Like, why are you so active? Why are you coming to the prison so often? Like, what's up to your sleeves? What are you planning here? Okay, so here we go.
هذه هي التهمة فقط أنها تزور أهالي الأسرى والمعتقلين.
He says that's her only crime, that she's visiting the Asra hostages. That's her crime. That's the issue. Subhanallah. Okay, here we go.
هذه هي التهمة.
He said this is the crime that she's facing. Okay, so now like
لأنه لما أجى الكابتن علينا كلنا بالحرف الوقت. أنا بدي أخذها أحسن ما أخذ الأمن الوقائي.
So what does he tell him? He tells him as give us 1 second. He tells him it's better than that we take her than the Sulta takes her, than the local police take her, the Palestinian sort of the Sulta, right? Abbas and his crew. It's better that we take her than they take her, right? Like they're claiming that they would treat her better somehow.
قال لك يعني إسرائيل أفضل ما يأخذ الأمن الوقائي الخاص بالسلطة.
The interviewer is just shocked. He's like, really? Like that's what they told you? He's like, exactly. Sorry, 1 second. I have some situation. Okay, here we go.
وكان معرضة فعلا أن يقبض عليها من الأمن الوقائي تبع السلطة الفلسطينية؟
هم كانوا لو بيقدروا كانوا يحتكلوها بس لأنه عرفوا وضع العيلة إنه مش ممكن يقدروا يحتكلوها.
It seems like they have some kind of connection, like they're well known within their area and their city. He says that the local police would not have been able, like they want to arrest her for whatever reason that they have, but they can't because of who she's connected to, it seems. Okay.
فإسرائيل اعتقلتها.
إسرائيل ضابط بالحرب الواحد. طبعا أخذ 4.
And he said yes, they took my wife and they took my 4 children as well.
في 2 قبل الحرب و2 بعد الحرب.
So there were 2 before the war, 2 after the war, before October 7th.
بالضبط. 2 و2 قبل.
الاثنين اللي بعد الحرب بأي تهمة؟
The ones that took them after the war, what was their what that they were in prison? That it's not like that was their only crime. That they were in prison before. Let's take them in. Just look at the dhulm, look at the oppression of the way the Zionists operate.
فقط هم كانوا مسجونين قبل كده فخدوهم بعد 7 أكتوبر.
That's it. They were, imprisoned before that, so they decided to take them after the 7th of October. They're supporters of Hamas, and supporters doesn't mean that you're part of Hamas. It's just like you're for the resistance. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're part of it. But listen to what this man eventually says. How old are they? The youngest is 21 out of his. And in the 30s and 27.
أنت دلوقتي في 4 من أولادك والزوجة موجودين لدى الاحتلال الإسرائيلي.
So now all your 4 children and your wife are in prison. He says, yes, I'm sitting.
طيب يعني اسمح لي لماذا تبتسم وأنت الزوجة و4 من الأولاد.
He's like, I don't understand why you like. The interviewer is confused. Like, why are you laughing about this? Like, your wife is in prison, your children. Like, prison is very normal for a Palestinian. It's like, oh, she just went to prison. She'll be back in a few years. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Listen.
لا الاحتلال يعني.
أنا أول شيء مبسوط لأنه فتح الضوء على غزة.
He said, I'm happy. Like, it's not really about his wife and possibly children coming out. He's like, I'm happy because of the like, even if it's a temporary ceasefire, because aid is going to enter to help the people of Gaza. His concern is the cause. His concern is Gaza. It's very typical of, subhanAllah, Gazans and Palestinians, subhanAllah.
أنا بالنسبة لي أكثر شيء انبساط إنه الهدنة يدخل أغراض على غزة، البنزين ويدخل كل هذا الشعب.
Most important for me is that fuel enters, like all the aid enters. This is what's important right now.
إحنا كنا جربنا، إحنا ممكن نفرح لوقت غير هذا الوقت.
He says we were imprisoned and we tried it before. So he says we can be happy later. Let's take a rain check on joy and happiness for my wife that's about to come out. He's like, I'll celebrate that later. This is not the time to celebrate.
نفرح ونستقبل، بس الوقت هذا إحنا فرحتنا لغزة، قديش يدخل عليها من أكل من شرب. إحنا متابعين التلفزيون، متابعين الحرب. إحنا فرحتنا كانت 7 دقائق 7-10 وما زلنا فرحانين ومقتنعين ومؤمنين.
Says we're happy about October 7th and we're still convinced and we're still supporting. He's the guys for the resistance. Listen, this is what's mind-boggling. He's talking about supporting the resistance while the Israelis are about to release his wife. So he doesn't even fear it. He's not even worried about it. Allah does what he does. Yaqeen. He says we have complete conviction in victory.
يعني حصل في 7 أكتوبر ده غلط، ده بسبب 2 من أول.
He says what happened in October 7th caused your wife to be imprisoned, 2 of your children to be imprisoned. Doesn't that make you mad? Doesn't that make you upset?
ولا مرة حتى لو أخذوا مؤبدا.
Says never, even if they get a life sentence. Even if they get a life sentence, we're supporting the resistance. Listen. The interviewer is like,
عندي لأن ابن عمي 43 سنة بالسجن برضه، يعني عندنا تجربة. إحنا من تقريبا من السبعينات. يعني أنا.
He said, I've been to prison before. I have experience in.
أول سجني في شهر 6/78.
The first time in 1978.
ما شاء الله أنت مريت تجربة الاعتقال والسجن لدى الاحتلال.
سجنت 4 مرات.
4
I was
مرات.
in prison 4 times. This man is
يعني هؤلاء الأشبال من ذاك الأسد، يعني كما يقول
he says, so they're walking in your footsteps, right? Those lion cubs are from this lion.
كما يقولون. طبعا لا أقصد شيء، لكن هذا ما جعل ذهني. طيب
والله
نعم تفضل.
I couldn't catch what he just said, but he just laughed from his heart. Whatever he said, like for him, was just like, look at his presence. He doesn't care. He's in the moment. He's speaking his heart. He's not worried about ticking anybody off or pleasing anybody. He has something that he stands for. He has integrity. He has a cause. You know, he believes. There's yaqeen and conviction. These are the people of Gaza. And he's from Ramallah, right? But like still, like the Palestinian people.
واخت اخوها مرة يكون اخوها ابو النور نائل البرغوثي له 44 سنة في السجن.
His wife's brother Nail Barghouti was something like over 40 years in prison, so he's very well known. I think this has something to do why the Palestinian Authority or the people of Abbas didn't, Sultan Palestiniya didn't take them in.
نعم. ده عميد الأسرى الفلسطينيين.
نعم.
Amid, like he's like the general of all the hostages, you know. There we go.
نعم.
احنا لما نكون مؤمنين بنقاوم عندنا قناعة.
He says we have conviction in the resistance. When you believe, you have conviction.
بس برضه في الوقت الحالي غزة بتدفع في ثمن.
But right now, Gaza is paying the price. Listen. But right now, Gaza is paying the price.
وإذا فرحتنا الوحيدة إنه تستمر الهدنة على أهلنا في غزة.
And our only like pleasure and happiness is that we see that the ceasefire continues on our people, on the civilian people of Gaza. They were to fight a fair war.
يعني زوجة حضرتك هي شقيقة الأسير نائل البرغوثي والذي أمضى مجموع حتى الآن أكثر من 43 عاما داخل سجون الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. تعتقد أنه هو الآن من الممكن أن يخرج نائل البرغوثي غير طبعا؟
Do you think Nail al-Barghouti, the general of all the hostages, is very popular? Do you think he's going to come out with his sister as well?
بجانب الأولاد والزوجة
Their wife and children?
عندما تكون هناك صفقة أكبر، صفقة العسكر.
Maybe when there's a bigger deal between the Israelis and the Palestinians, some sort of the new type of
يعني الكل مقابل الكل كما قالت المقاومة.
like all the prisoners on the Israeli side for all the hostages or the hostages on the Palestinian.
حماس ده تتوقعه قريبا سيد محمد؟
Yeah. Because Israel right now is losing the war. They're you know, tanhar, they're just like breaking apart. He says, and the proof in his opinion is that there is a type of ceasefire, right? Like we don't know, for all we know, like Israel wants this. They want to take a breather, recuperate, and that's why they might even extend the ceasefire. We don't know, but you can never trust them, these people.
أنا عندي قناعة تحرر السجون وترجع غزة أحسن من الأول.
He says, I have conviction that all the hostages will be freed and Gaza will become better than it was before.
أختنا زوجة حضرتك سيدة حنان البرغوثي. نعم أخبارها إيه؟ لأن أنا سمعت.
How is Hanan, your wife, Hanan al-Barghouti? How's she doing in the prison?
كان لديها بعض المشاكل الصحية.
It seems like she has some medical conditions.
كيف حالها يعني الأسيرة حنان البرغوثي؟
لا أحسن لأنه كان معها ضغط وقبل ما ياخذوها اليوم كنا ماخذين على دكتور مشان القلب.
No problem. He just has blood pressure and a heart condition. Which is very casual.
القلب.
قتل القلب.
أعتقد هي 59
59 سنة.
His wife is 59 years old.
سيد محمد.
59 سنة.
الله يديها الصحة ويديكم الصحة.
الصحة.
أنا كنت أقرأ بعض الكلام على السوشيال ميديا بيتحدث على أن يعني ما كان يجب لحماس أن هي تقوم بالعملية دي لراح ضحيتها شهداء أكثر من يعني 14,000 الآن، وآلاف الإصابات وآلاف المفقودين ومن أكثر من مليون نازح. إيه رأيك في الكلام ده؟ هل الكلام صحيح؟ أنتم كفلسطينيين شايفين لا إن الفاتورة كبيرة قوي بعد اللي حصل في 7 أكتوبر أخي محمد؟
He's asking, do you feel like the invoice was a bit high, like the price? It's too high. Let's listen to what he says.
مدام لا.
أنا بعتبر إن الأرض ما بتيجي بالسلام ولا بتيجي بالحكي.
He says, I believe that it will never return. Palestine won't be free with words or with peace. I don't believe Palestine will be free with words or with peace.
الأرض بدها ثمن.
He says the land has a price.
وطننا بده ثمن.
Our country, this watan, our home, it has a price.
ويافا بدها ثمن.
And Yafa has a price.
وحيفا بدها
And Haifa has a price.
والبحر بحرنا.
And the sea is our sea.
هذا مش له.
It's not theirs. Just look at this man.
وبندفع الثمن.
But we have to pay the price.
وإحنا بندفع الثمن.
And we're paying the price.
بعدين حتى لو كانوا عن السلام اللي بيحكوا عنه ما عايشين بالضفة الغربية. شو السلام اللي عندنا؟
He says, and even if they have some kind of, they come to some kind of a
بالصوتنا قدموا أكثر بقتلوا كل يوم أكثر سلطة في الشلال غير مقاطعة برب.
The resistance every day, they're giving their lives, they're presenting their lives. What is the PLO or the people of Abbas, right? The Sultan Falastin. What have they given?
الله لا تحكم مع شيء. بس
nothing.
بنحصل على رواتب ومراتب غيرها ما فيش مستمعين أي.
They just take their salaries and that's it. We don't hear anything.
أراضينا بتروح.
Our lands are being stolen.
معتقلات.
Being imprisoned, taken in, hostage.
سجون ملان وهناك ملان.
Prison.
فإحنا بندفع الثمن.
And we're paying the price.
اللي صار إحنا في 7 شهر. أنا يعني وجهة نظر حتى لما كانتش حماس بدنا نوجد أخوة واحد اسمها حماس.
He says October 7th was a victory. He says, and even if they get rid of Hamas, we're going to make another Hamas. This guy is like, they're releasing, it's like, quick news. We've decided that this man has, such courage that we're still going to send his wife to him. Like, it's like, what harm can this man, a 59-year-old woman, just put his sons aside. What is his wife? What kind of harm is his wife going to do? Why is she in prison for months?
جديد لأنه إحنا ولا يمكن تتحرر أرضنا إلا بالمقاومة.
He says because it is impossible for our land to be free except through resistance.
مش قلقان وانت بتقول الكلام ده على شاشة التلفاز وكل حاجة متسجلة.
He says, are you not worried about saying this on television and everything's being recorded?
حاجة بتتشاف ولسه واخدين الزوجة والأولاد.
And they just took your wife and your children and everybody's watching.
قبل أيام يعني.
لا أبدا.
He says, no, not at all. I have no worry whatsoever.
معروف يا السجن يا.
He says it's known either to prison or a martyr in Jannah.
يا ما بدي. هذول من صغر ربنا عليه.
He says it's been instilled in us at a young age. So,
يا شهيد يا سجن.
Either a martyr or a prison.
أنت في الضفة.
It's our land.
الضفة
We're not terrorists. We're free.
يعني مش أراضي احتلال إسرائيل. ده حقيقي يعني أنتوا عايشين كأحرار براحتكم وتتحركون بشكل طبيعي أم لا؟
He's like, you live freely in the West Bank. You move around freely. Everything's normal or no?
ما زلتم في احتلال بشكل يعني أو آخر سيد محمد.
You feel like you're under occupation.
لا إحنا احتلالين مش احتلال.
He says we have 2 occupations, not 1.
احتلالين.
نعم احتلالين.
إيه احتلالين؟
الاحتلال الأول والاحتلال الكبير والاحتلال الثاني السلطة بتدعي إنهم يعني في دولة مستقلة.
He says we're occupied by the Palestinian authorities and we're occupied by the Israelis. It's like they have no respect for Abbas and his people. Ya Allah.
احنا ما شاهدنا منهم دافعوا عنا. احنا بنحبهم ونتمنى لهم الخير.
He says we want good for them, but give something to the people, present something for the people of Palestine.
بس شعرونا انه انتم بتدافعوا عنا.
Let us feel like you're defending us.
شعرونا انه بتسووا لنا شيء.
Let us feel like
احنا ما بنشوف الا لما يبقى بس على الشارع جنود مرك الرئيس روح الرئيس مرك الرئيس روح الرئيس.
He says all we see is the president came, the president left, the president came, the president left. What did the president do? Oh, nothing. He just came and he left. But did he do anything? Oh, yeah. What? He came and then he left.
بنشوف بيطلعوا الكلب من باب المقاطعة، بنشوف على جنين من باب المقاطعة، بنشوف على رام الله بننزلوا عند البيري بجنب المقاطعة. يعني ما في وجود. فعلى اساس انه في بدمك بعدين السجون موجوده فيها سوى سنيه يحاربوا قاعد شعب فلسطيني بدفع الدم وبعدين شفنا الاجرام الاوروبي والامريكي والعربي الصف العربي والخيانه العربيه وفوق هيك لحد هالكيف يعني مش خليه يقولوا فوق.
He's talking about the others involved, Britain, the United States.
بدناش نمسك امني يا عمي خلص صرنا دور واحد ما في مسمعينا شيء اللي نشعر انه يعني له وجود.
He said they've done nothing for us, the Sultan, the Palestinian Authority, that we feel like they have some kind of presence. They haven't presented us with anything. These are the people they want to, lead and control, because they're mostly bought out.
ربيت ولادك على الكلام ده.
He said, did you raise your children on these values?
إما الحرية والموت.
Either freedom or martyrdom.
في مشكلة. هذا ما ربيت عليه أولادك.
He says, absolutely.
سيد محمد.
أنا كان لي الكابتن وكان لي بدك تدفع الثمن. أنا لما أخذ آخر واحد كان لي والله غير خليك لحالك قاعد بالبيت.
He said when the captain came to take my children, he told them, Wallahi, I'm going to leave you to be alone. They keep taking your children until you're alone. What does he answer?
ضابط الإسرائيلي قال لك أنا هخليك قاعد لوحدك في البيت.
I'm going to leave you alone in the house. He says, yeah, by Allah, he said that.
عندي أولاد وعندي شنايم وعندهم أولاد صغار بلعبهم.
He said, it's okay, I've got grandkids. Play with my grandchildren, no problem. Can't mess with the Palestinian family. On average, like we have a soccer team per family. Like each family can create their own soccer team, like made up of like 11 people on average. Very typical of Palestine.
Yeah.
ما شاء الله. الله يبارك فيك. عندك أحد كثر سيد محمد.
Grandsons.
عندي 15.
He says I've got
15 حفيد. ما شاء الله. أنت مش
الأولاد والبنات.
ما شاء الله.
الله يبارك فيك. أنت مش
الأولاد والبنات. لا الحمد لله.
بتربوهم على نفس النهج.
You raise
ما
them
ربيت عليه الأولاد إما الحرية والوطن أو الموت والاعتقال.
إحنا بنربيهم على العز والكرامة.
We raise them.
حقيقة إحنا بنربيهم على العز والكرامة مش قضية إنك يعني حتى لو بدك تتعب وتجيب شكلك.
He says, work for your money. Be a productive member of society. Don't go to the banks and take loans, and then you're constantly worried about and busy with how you're going to pay off these loans. Free yourself from those shackles. The Sultan, the Palestinian authorities, they're pushing people towards taking money from banks, and many people, because they're stealing a lot of the money that's coming in, the people are forced to go to the banks as well. I have a son that came out of prison. He has nothing, so he's telling his dad, I'll just take a loan from the bank, and they have Islamic banks there, but I don't know if they. And he says, don't you dare. He's giving him advice. Don't. Says, don't ever think for a second to reach the door of a bank. Because it shackles you. It holds you down. You see, all your concern is how you can pay off your debts. So live your life. Look at the advice of this father. Look at this man. Allahu Akbar.
كعدك فلما تعيش بكرامه وعزه
When you live with
بتضل
honor and dignity.
افضل. واحنا شايفين الناس هذا، فالحمد لله رب العالمين.
Alhamdulillah.
بناكل مثل الناس وبنشرب مثل
We eat like people, other people. We dress like other people. Like we have nothing. Basic needs.
الناس.
طيب لكن أنا متأكد أنت كأب وكجد بتشوف الأطفال اللي قتلوا في غزة بالآلاف، هذه المناظر
When you see all these thousands of children being massacred in Gaza, how does that make you feel?
المرعبة للحقيقة والصادمة، ده برضو ما بيخليكش تتراجع عن هذه الأفكار ونقلها للأولاد وللأحفاد. ربنا
This doesn't make you sad and maybe reconsider your stance and what you stand for.
بارك لك فيهم طبعا ويحفظهم.
And Allah protect your children, of course.
ده ما خليكش في لحظة من اللحظات تفكر لا نتوقف خلينا ناخذ نهج السلطة.
Let's go the other route, the two-state solution, peace, and the Palestinian Authority, so that my children, so I can protect my family and children. Basically, haven't you thought about being self-centered? That's what he said.
السلام وإلى آخره.
لا أنا بفكر أكثر من هيك.
He says no. I think even bigger than that.
أنا صار حدي على الأنظمة العربية أكثر.
He says I'm just bitter now towards the Palestinian Authority.
كثير يعني. لأن تركونا لحالنا أو تركوا غزة.
And also the Arabs. He's talking about the Arabs and Arab rulers. That
لو عندي وقت ثانيين لا بعملهم أكثر من هيك.
He said, if Allah gives me more children, I would double down on those values.
فيش تراجع نهائيا.
There's no turning back.
هذا طريق اخترناها.
You can tell that he's touching the interviewer. Like, just look at the face of the interviewer. Is it just me? Like, when you look at the face of the person he's interviewing, he's just like, wow, these values. Like, we miss them. It's just like a dream now. What are you talking about? You stand for something, you believe in something, you've got conviction, you're ready to sacrifice your whole family for your beliefs and what you stand for. Like, how can this not be inspiration? This is next level inspiration. And like any normal, like regular person would be like, I'll stay quiet until my wife and kids get out. They're in my home safe, and then I'll do these interviews, and then I'll say these things. But no, he's like, whatever Allah brings my way, alhamdulillah. Look at it, there's this moment of silence, right? He's just sitting there like, and this older man's just zen. He's just like, it's like what it is. It's like present. Do you feel, is it just me? Write in the comments. Let's check these. I'm not used to doing more than one at a time. Like the conviction, subhanallah. Okay. Yeah, there are some comments. Okay, so you guys are keeping up. MashaAllah. Just like next level, this guy, man. I love him. Just look at this guy. Just the last.
أنت مؤيد.
Oh, just the moment. There's no turning back.
هذا طريق اخترناها.
We chose this road.
أنت مؤيد كل ما تقوم به المقاومة.
He says you supporting everything the resistance is doing.
بالضبط.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to give you any chance that you might misinterpret what like, you know how careful diplomats and politicians are with their words, and they often slip because they're overthinking it. But when you have nothing to hide, when you're just you, and this is why the Prophet ﷺ said that the truth will set you free. As-sidqu yunji, wal-kadhibu yuhlik, and lying will destroy you. Because you can just be yourself. Everything falls into place. But when you lie, you're going to open other books of destiny that are going to get you in trouble. Allah, I'm so inspired by this Hanan Barghouti. I just want to kiss him on the forehead.
كل المقاومة.
مش شايف
احنا من زمان.
انت علشان مجاهد ومن زمان دي وجهة نظرك ولا؟
Says, is it because you have history with the resistance and you've always had this stance? Is this why you're saying what you're saying?
كل اهل الضفة او رام الله بيفكروا بنفس الطريقة.
Or the people of, now listen carefully, or the people of Dafa and Ramallah, they think the same way as you do. You want to see, is this like on mass scale of people in the West Bank now, right? Like not Gaza. Listen to what he answers.
واكثريتهم يعني.
لا يا أخوي كل الضفة.
He says, no, my brother, all of the West Bank. And then he says, I don't want to say like all like 100, but like the overwhelming majority, like over 90%. Like they do, because there are those that they have their different outlook on things. But listen to what he says. He says, all.
بدي أقول لك الكل أجمع.
Not everybody.
يعني نسبة 90% بتستنى أبو عبيدة تحكي الكلمة.
Said over 90%, wait for Abu Ubaidah to give his talk. So then what does he say? He said, is this not loyalty? Is this not a belonging? When people are just, waiting for this speech, the whole world stops when this man talks, right? Everything. How do you do? Not sure if I have the talent to do it. Upside down triangle. Okay, here we go. Listen.
انت ادرى مني يا سيد محمد ان كان من اهداف اسرائيل ان هي بتضغط على المقاومه بقتل اكبر عدد من المدنيين.
Says the strategy of Israel is to, apply maximum pressure on the resistance by killing the greatest number of civilians possible.
علشان الناس تقول لا كفايه مش عايزين مقاومه.
So that people, and this is happening with some. So they're saying, forget it, man. We don't want resistance. We just want to live. Right? Some people take that stance, and you should listen, have an open heart and listen to what people have to say, because these are still lives, right? But if the people in Gaza, the overwhelming majority, and in the West Bank are ready to present their lives for the cause, I can't, that's their own wanting.
عايزين نعيش في سلام وأمن مش عايزين.
We just want to live in peace, and we don't want all this resistance, and we get excited for a little bit, and then we're back to normal, or abnormal.
بيوتنا أولادنا يتقتلوا بيوتنا.
Our children are dying. Our houses are being destroyed.
هل ده حصل؟ أنت شايف حواليك في الضفة؟
Are you not seeing around you in the West Bank?
وجيرانك ناس طلعت تقول لا كفاية.
He said enough is enough, and
مقاومة خلينا عايشين.
No more resistance. Let us just live, and we'll make the most of what we have here.
ولو بالحد الأدنى.
في تبرع بيطلع بس مش كثير. تستعملوا بعض الأحيان لأنه في رموز موجودة الآن. الكلام الصفر. استفدنا. هاي دمرت غزة. هاي دمرت. كيف ضلوا في بيوتهم؟ وشو اللي أجانا منهم؟ طبعا لا صغرى تبقى مقصودة الصفحات.
إن شاء الله يعني الزوجة تخرج السيدة حنان البرغوثي تكون من ضمن من سيخرجون ويخرج الجميع بإذن الله.
إن شاء الله your whole family and your wife will be
آلاف المعتقلين في سجون الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. عايز أسمع منك يعني كيف
how are you going to receive your wife? His 59-year-old wife that's a prisoner of the war, because she used to simply visit the prisons often to visit her family members. So they took her in, and she's been in prison for the last, I guess, couple of months now. And the person's just very, in the moment, like, inshallah, she'll come out. But he's saying, like, are you excited? Tell me about how you're feeling. She's getting out. Like, what are you going to do when she gets out? I mean, this is an older man. Honey, I love you. I missed you. It's, of course not. Like, what is he going to do? Listen to his reaction. What are you going to tell her? Have you thought about it? Like, we're so Hollywood. Like, this guy is just, he's Palestinian. You know the joke about, what is it? I'm trying to remember it. There's like something like a Palestinian and a Syrian and something else. I can't remember. But they ask each one what like 2 + 2 is, right? So when they got to the Palestinian, like one of them, he said it depends. Like, are you buying or are you selling? So like, what's 2 plus 2? He's like, it depends. I think the Syrian, are you buying or are you selling? So depending on whether I'm the buyer or the seller, the numbers might change, right? But when they came to the Palestinian, he says, what's 2 and 2? He says, بدهاش سجاعة 4. He says, it's like, it doesn't need any. He's like, what are you like? Basically, like, what are you? What kind of stupid question is that? 4. It's like Palestinians are very to the point and straightforward at times. So we're seeing a little bit of this from this man. So let's see what he's prepared for his wife, prisoner of war, that he's about to see in the next upcoming few days. What is this older gentleman going to tell his wife and possibly children if they get out? Let's hear it.
خصوصا بعد ما عرفت ان هي ممكن تخرج في اي وقت بكره او بعد خلال الايام القادمه.
والله انا بدي اقول لها الحمد لله على سلامتك. اهم شيء لان هي برضه تسر بنت اختي يعني انا مش.
He says, I'll tell her alhamdulillah as-salam, alhamdulillah for your safety. He says, because she's also leaving bint ukhti, the daughter of my sister in the prison, and that's kind of difficult. He's still thinking about those in prison. Like the selflessness. You get this? Look at this man. Off on my YouTube channel for those of you that Muslim Hub Club.
ليه عاصر البرغوثي
موجوده في
يعني
Yeah, normal. I'll meet her normally. It's like,
اكمل سيد محمد تفضل.
بنطبخ لها طنجرة مقلوبة.
he says, and I'll make her طنجرة مقلوبة. You know, I'll make her our famous upside down dish. You know, the one with the rice, where they have the pan and they flip it upside down. They bang it on the top and they take it up. Got rice and eggplant with like chicken or meat. That famous Palestinian dish. He says, I'll cook her مقلوبة. Okay.
انت اللي هتطبخ.
He says, you're going to prepare the مقلوبة?
انت اللي هتطبخ المقلوب.
Egyptians are like, انت هتطبخ المقلوبة. واخد بالك؟ I love the Egyptian accent. The guy's like, in Egypt they don't call it مقلوبة. They call it مشقلبة. المتشقلبة. Okay, here we go.
لا بنتي.
نعم.
He says, no. My daughter is going to cook the مقلوبة. Very Palestinian.
الله يبارك فيها ويبارك فيهم وان شاء الله يخرجوا جميعا.
The ladies, the Palestinian women own the kitchen, and they like it and they enjoy being in it. And if you get in their way, they get very anxious.
جميعا الزوجه والاولاد والسيد نائل البرغوثي والجميع من سجون الاحتلال الاسرائيلي. أحب أن ترسل رسالة.
He says, do you want to give a final message?
لأحد سلطة
the Palestinian Authority, Israel, governments, the world.
المقاومة الاحتلال أيا كان يعني تفضل أخيرا.
Go ahead. Final message.
أنا بدي كلمة للسلطة بس.
Says, I want to talk, say something for the Palestinian Authority.
إنه يحكوا حاله. لا.
He says, you're running out of time. You're running out of time. Listen to what he's telling them.
يمكن يفكروا إنه غزة تنتصر. لا راح يدور على دبابة ولا يفكروا يوم من الأيام إنه يوصلوا غزة. فالأفضل أنتم من شعبنا. واغلب شبابنا ملاحق على الموجود فالافضل انه نضل يد واحده.
Look at this. He's calling them for unity. With everything that he said about him, that's the maturity that comes with age. We're saying you're still from our people, like let's be one hand and let's like just wake up. Enough is enough. We'll still take you back. It's kind of like a Fath Makkah situation. Like we give you safety, inshallah. What is this guy?
شاهدت على التلفزيون من وزير الدفاع الإسرائيلي من الأمريكان حاطين علينا بشكل فظيع. أول مرة في حياتنا بنشوف الجرائم.
They're very bitter towards us. We've never seen it's unprecedented, the massacres that are happening there right now. Unprecedented.
ما بدهم عربي ولا بدهم فلسطيني.
They don't want Arabs. They don't want Palestinians.
تضل على الساحة. فنكون يد واحدة. خيانة عربية. أنتم شايفينها بعينيكم.
He says you're seeing the betrayal of the Arab leaders.
فالأفضل ندافع عن بيوتنا.
So what's better is that we protect our homes and we protect ourselves.
وحتى لو نشأت بالسلام في الضفة الغربية الوزير تبعهم هذا من الغربية مش راح يخليكم والسامح لا واحد من السلطة ولا لحدا، وما بيفرق بين حدا. قاعد هذا بيجي بضرب الحجاج بطرف، وهينا شايفينه في الكرة، بتنزل على الكرة ما بسأل شو تنظيمك.
نعم.
وهذه الرسالة بودي لهم إياها.
They're not distinguishing between
لا أريد أن أطيل عليك أكثر من ذلك، لكن إن شاء الله يعني إن تم الأمر على خير وخرج السيدة حنان البرغوثي يكون معك يعني معنا.
This guy's probably like, yeah, I don't know if you're ever going to see your wife again, brother. That's probably what's going through his head. The just look at him. He's in shock. Because these people are real. The majority of people today, unfortunately, are very fake. So that brings us to the end of this, inshallah ta'ala. And then maybe we bring our attention, we can stop the screen share and bring our attention to here. Let's see if we can do this now, inshallah ta'ala. Just for turn off this Bluetooth, should be fine. Let's bring this back on, and then let's bring some of you on the line. Sure. There we go. Okay, how do you bring people on the live here? So let's send me a request if you want to come up. Let's get a bunch of people up. Okay. Okay, let's see. Send me a request if you'd like to come on the live show. 12:18. Bismillah. Let's invite some of you. Just got the #1 gifter badge. Oh, okay. I don't understand the badging system. The other day I looked into my live center and found like a few $100s, and I had no clue I actually make money initially from all these things. Then I figured it out. But it's, inshallah, whatever Allah brings our way is khair. The main thing is to serve here. Okay, so let's invite some of you. Some of you would like to come up, ask questions. You know, I don't typically open up for a live and bring people in. That happens rarely. So this is a good opportunity if you want to come up, ask me questions like, who the heck are you? Okay, get a lot of that. Like the live. Let's open up. Where do they keep them? Oh, okay, requests. Guests. Who are we going to invite? Whoever wants to come on board. Let's get a bunch of you on here, but please be respectful. And it's not as easy for me. Co-hosts with creator. Co-host with the recommended creator to make new friends. Okay, here we go. See if anybody comes through. I know it's getting late, so we won't take too much time. Meanwhile, okay, so all sorts of questions. Ultimately, we've been sharing a lot of content about Gaza, obviously, and what's happening over there. But I really wanted to, usually I just go get on here and I talk and talk and talk, and you guys listen. So I just want to bring you up and see if I can just answer some questions. Joined. If you'd like to come on the live, inshallah, raise your hand. Give it a little bit more time. If you have any questions, let me know. The book, The Afterlife Manual, is available on muslimhub.club /book. You can purchase the book from there if you're interested in it. It talks about it's the afterlife manual. It's more about how to perceive this world in such a way to get your akhirah in order. So inshallah, I think you will find a lot of benefit and fruits on it. It doesn't seem like we have a lot of people that want to join this time around, maybe because it's quite late at night. Usually I get a bunch of requests. Okay, so the one thing I explained and I shared today in one of my rooms, I think it was Clubhouse, is the people that are saying that this is not a religious war. As familiar with the intricacies of our faith. So when they say things like this is not a religious war, they are badly mistaken. But I also want to say that it's not just a religious war. You can't say it's not a religious war. The Jews themselves say they are the chosen people of God, and it's a land for people with the people without a land, and they're the chosen people of God. From their view, it's a religious war. And they bring up the whole Hamas and the resistance, and it's a religious war. And from the Muslims' perspective, it's a religious war. Now, is it only a religious war? No, because there are Palestinians who are not, they're Christian, but it could be religious from their Christian ideology and perspective, right? And Christian Palestinians and Muslim Palestinians are very close to each other. I can tell you that as a Palestinian. So, in a nutshell, yes, it is. You can't say that it's not a religious war, but you can't limit it to that. I believe that's one of the most balanced ways of looking at this. We say it's either religious or it's not. But everything you do in your life is religion. It's your way of life. So we don't separate our world from our religion, right? Everything in your world is part of your way of life, because the prophetic sunnah is infused into everything. We're taught how to deal with everything, how to handle everything in a way that's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's just one thing that I wanted to mention and get out there that's been on my chest. I've already shared a lot of knowledge today in general on the feed. Check out the videos. I posted a bunch today. I think maybe 2 on TikTok, maybe 3 or so on Instagram. So go through those, inshallah ta'ala. And I still owe you the Iman part 2 series. Reason being, I was hoping I could do one every day, and I will, inshallah. I'll get to it. But alhamdulillah, there's good news that another 3 people from our family, inshallah. I think they're at the border, if not crossed already. So alhamdulillah, there's continuously good news. I don't know if I can say this, but if anybody can hear me out there, with people and family members inside, and you're trying to get them out, this is an absolute shame, what I'm about to tell you right now. But it's a reality that it's a lifeline and a card that I think in this situation, if you're forced to do it and you have the ability to do it, you should do it. But there are people that are getting people out through the Egyptian border. And they're getting their names on these lists. And this is happening through payoffs. And I have information, for example, just as an example, of a family who were charged $10,000 per head, family of 7, about $70,000 to get out. And when I heard of this, it made me sick to my stomach. But at the end of the day, if that's what it's going to take, and a family has the money and they're having no other option and they want to get out for medical purposes, like who are we also bringing out? Some of our families want to stay, but some want to get out. That's it. I mean, it's just overwhelming for some, right? Not everybody has that level of sumud. Like people are Not every single Gazan is standing up and like we're trying our best, but we're human beings. And so there's the good and bad from everyone. But mashallah, the majority of the people of Gaza, we've seen what they're made out of. So during the ceasefire, we're going to do some really big things, inshallah, to support the people in need. This winter is coming. We've got to move, and we still have some money to spend, alhamdulillah, from your generous donations. I think with the private donors, we already surpassed the 100K mark, heading towards 200K, although it says probably 70 something on the website, but there's a few commitments from some private donors of large numbers. So alhamdulillah, we're going to continue to help, and we were able to get money to brother, I think also Mahmoud is one of the main people on the ground that you always see on social media, and Ahmed Hijazi is another. So we're literally like, the way we do it is we cover the cost of printing any envelopes or logos or anything. And the only reason I do that and pay it out of my own personal pocket is I don't want a single penny to be used except for the people of Gaza. So all the administrative, everything I handle. Even if we have to pay the people that are helping us, we do that from our own pockets. That's the way we support the cause. That's the way we support it as people from Gaza. I was offered to take 10% to donate, to raise money for people in the beginning, in the very beginning, before things got really hot and heated. Take 10%, and I sent it back. I said, I'm not interested. I can't take money from their own people. So alhamdulillah, every penny raised is going, and we're even putting out of our own pockets. So, so that's what we do. And then we spread the money across the people on the ground. We don't want to keep it all in one place, because you can have a situation where also someone's home is bombed and the money is disintegrated with them, for example. So we have to be very, we have to play the logistics right, the logistics card right. So we make sure that they're getting all the help that they need, inshallah. So with some, we're giving them money and tell them to raise the spirits of the children. With some, we're just clothing, just winter stuff. We're doing a campaign of jackets for the winter, like really warm jackets, inshallah ta'ala. We were able to secure about 150 or 250 of them, of those jackets. And we're just pushing. And the only reason I do those logos and everything is just to show the people, because a lot of people like, brother, do you know any organizations I can trust that is getting money in there? I know 100%, for people that don't know me, I know 100% by Allah. Allah's my witness right now. Every single penny that is coming to us is heading over to the people of Gaza in like light speed. Like nobody can get it there fast. Like the last batch, they actually had some money locally in there, and they were able to spend it immediately before the money arrived. So we have our ways. We're from Gaza. Like we have our family, we have friends, we have people that want to support. We're in touch with them. And that's how we move things. We know the city and the different areas, and everything's planned. It's like 007 type of work right now to be able to be on the ground and support. But inshallah, they don't break the ceasefire or postpone it. And it's there. And inshallah, they don't pull off any quick ones. Inshallah ta'ala, we're gonna move full dynamo during the ceasefire, inshallah ta'ala. So that's that. I don't want to give you a big talk right now. It's already getting late on my end, and I gotta check on my mother and my grandmother, because I just heard that some more family members have exited. So that's amazing news. We were worried that the final night before the ceasefire that they did, like last time in one of the ceasefires, like an hour before it, they took down 3 towers just to make a point. So they have the tendency to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they launch a few rockets and say, oops, or those are Hamas. So we have to be very careful when we're dealing with these people, inshallah. That's all, inshallah, for today. I tried to bring some of you up. I didn't see any requests. Maybe it's getting late. Maybe next time, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. Do keep me in your prayers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, let me just really quick. I just noticed there's a bunch of some questions here off of YouTube. In Baqarah 2:115, Allah said, "Truth is wherever you turn." أَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Could you please speak a little bit about this? Are you still there? Allah. Okay, so they're forcing me to talk a little bit before we exit. So, yeah, I mean, أَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Wherever you turn, there is the face of your Lord, meaning the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what? Let me save this. Is it Sister Liana Diaz? Let me save this for a room because it's a I can do an entire room on this topic. Because if Allah is saying that everywhere you see, everywhere you look is the essence of God, but when you turn around, you're not seeing God's essence with your mind. The mind can't perceive, only the heart. So it's part of the work of the heart. But like I told you, it's when a light hits a prism, it refracts. When a light hits the prism, it refracts from one to multiplicity. Okay, so when the light of the ruh crosses the mind, okay, it's like the mind is the virtual reality headset. It's the limitations of the mind and the way the mind is programmed enables you to see the world in a specific way according to the limitations of your mind. So when you look out, what do you see? You're seeing, according to the Quran, what some of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not limited by anything. From his attributes is that he is not finite. So we say he's eternal. So he's beyond time and he's beyond space. So he's infinite, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing limits him, and he's eternal. He's not born in time or limited or trapped by time. So what happens is that when you look out with your eyes, infinity appears to you, because Allah is saying wherever you look, it's eternal and infinite, like the essence of God. It says, when you look out into the world, just like the light hits the prism and is refracted, when you look out through the mind makes infinity appear as space, and the mind makes eternity manifest as time. So this is what, in reality, this is what it is. Everything is a manifestation of God's attributes. So it's a bit deep here. And this is more of an experiential ayah. This is one that when you work on your tawheed and your dhikr and this, you get to taste it. That's what you should aspire to, inshallah. So that's a short answer. Some other time we can expand on it. Assalamu alaikum. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow whoever's watching. And inshallah, follow me on my social media on Instagram and TikTok as well. Assalamu alaikum.